Right. So today I'm going to talk about, the major part. The major part is going to play a role is a Python is the programming language, either to implement the automation testing, either to implement the, data science, either to implement the full stack. Any technology, if you want it to be implement, the major part is going to play, Python programming language. So which will be make us to be implement, right? Yeah. So, so firstly, yeah. So what are the topics I would like to discuss today? About please go for the mute. I don't know who is this Dell. Yeah. Yes. See, firstly, I would like to give a demonstration about. So, firstly, let me define what is a software. How can we define a software? And how can you define a program? And what is the front end, what is the back end, and what is the middleware? I would like to give you the demonstration firstly. I think already people are pretty well enough knowledge about these particular topics, but still somebody not aware about what exactly software can be defined. So if you wanted to define a software, basically, very simple manner, we can say, set of programs called software. This software, if we install over the laptop or PC, we will call it as a software. The same software, if we install in mobile, we will be call it as app. The same software, if we install in embedded application, embedded app, or else, macros. There are miscellaneous names are going to be called, what do you mean by software? So software is a collection of programs or apps or macros to perform a specific task is called as a software. So let me tell you what are the classes of the softwares. Classification softwares. Can anyone tell me what are the types of softwares can be classified? So we know what is a software, but softwares can be classified broadly into two categories. One is system software. Second one is business software. Softwares are utility software. Now comes to system software. What does it mean? What do you mean by the system software? We supposed to understand. See, these are the points, very importantly, everybody know you are from a software engineer or designer or a developer or a testing engineer or DevOps engineer, doesn't matter. You have to have an idea.
Sir, your notepad is not visible, sir.
What?
Your notepad is not visible, I think. Just hello?
Yes, please.
Notepad is not visible, sir. Just only for topics to be discussed. That screen is only for visible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm writing with a red mark. Are you able to see?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So obviously we have understand set of programs or apps or any other names can be called it as a software to perform a specific task. So there will be classification of softwares. So one is system software. System software. What do you mean by system software? So let me define it. A software which is directly interact with hardware called system softwares. So for example, such a system softwares are operating systems. Operating systems can be a Windows operating system. It can be a Linux operating system. It can be a Solaris. It can be Ubuntu. It can be a Raspberry. There will be a lot of operating system. It can be a Mac operating system also. System drivers means device drivers, system device drivers. All these will be comes under system softwares. If you look at a semantic diagram, if you look at the semantic diagram, usually this can be considered as a hardware. When you purchase a new computer or new laptop, this would be considered as, a fresh hardware where we'll be having a RAM, ROM, all this. So on top of this particular hardware, we are going to be install, operating system, OS. If you don't install the operating system, surely you are not going to be interact with. Once the operating system is installed, then it is called as a system software, which will be directly interact with the hardware. On top of the operating system, we are going to be install, business applications. Business applications, also known as utility applications. Let's suppose WhatsApp, Internet Explorer, MS Office, all these will be comes under business applications because we want it to be work with them. So therefore, we are going to be installed on top of the operating system. In mobile also same, in laptop also same. This is the relation between the hardware, operating system and business applications. So we have understand operating system will be called, what? It is a system software where directly interact with the hardware. On top of it, business applications are going to be installed. Let us talk about business applications. Business applications. Yeah. So now let's talk about, business applications. Business applications or softwares. See, what do you mean by business applications? Is basically a software which is developed for the end user, and it has to be installed on top of the operating system. So these softwares also called as the utility applications. Let me classify business applications. Business softwares can also further classified as two categories. They are, one is software product. Software product. Can you tell me, obviously we might be very, misunderstand sometimes, what do you mean by software product and what do you mean by software project? So let's know software product is nothing but a software which is developed for everybody's requirement, requirement, such as example, WhatsApp is the product, software product. Facebook is a software product. Instagram is a Facebook, it is a product, isn't it? Even integrated development environments like PyCharm, IDLE, Spider, you know, Canopy, VS Studio. These are all, software products they developed. They would be available for the end users, just will be installed and we can make use of them for everybody. You might be whatever the background you have, you should be able to utilize them. Such all called, software products. Now comes to software project. Software projects. A software developed with respect to end user requirements. What does it mean? Let's suppose, if you want your own app, let's suppose some person, Harish wanted to maintain a e-commerce application. E-commerce application. It can be app, it can be an application. So Flipkart, Amazon, all these applications are different, isn't it? And Harish wanted to develop his own e-commerce application, which has more facilities, more powerful, scalability, usability, easiness. All this will be very nice. Even though Country Delight, we know that Country Delight is the milk app where it is software project because they develop their project according to their requirement, which is feasibly useful for the end users, very easily they can communicate with and they can able to develop as per their requirement. Color, background color, front ground color, options, scalability, all these will be with respect to their, like simply, if you purchase the flat, if you purchase the flat, if you buy the flat, if you buy the flat without ready-made, then it is called, it is a software project. Whereas the software product means a flat fully furnished. If you are ready to move, then it is called as a software product. You need not to do anything. That's the difference between software product and as well as software projects. So, so far, I think everybody is clear that what exactly a software, how can we define a software, and what are the classification of the softwares and the system softwares and application softwares. Within the application softwares, we can categorize software product as well as software projects. So let's go ahead. Yeah. Now, what is the relation between program and software? I would like to give you the information about it. Yeah. Define program. See, the program is very generalized word that, we cannot able to spell it. Even marriage program, anniversary program, like that people used to call. But you should not use generalized definitions for the program to be defined. The program is nothing but program in computer terminology. Program is set of instructions written to perform a specific job or task. So here in this, instructions is the word is very important because, if you wanted to write an instructions, if you want to write on instructions or instruction, we need computer programming languages. Such as C, C++, or Java, or Python, R, no, C hash, Groovy, Golang, PHP, like, TCL, even DCL or CAPL. There are many more programming languages. These programming languages, computer programming languages, is used to communicate between electronic devices. Clear? But generally, English, Telugu, Hindi, all these languages are made to communicate between human being. But whereas, computer programming languages is allow us to be write and instructions to be function electronic devices. Is that clear, everyone? So here, let's go ahead now. I'll be taking three important things now. Like, I'll be taking in any software. If you take any software now, there are softwares you are seeing that some softwares are stand-alone applications. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by standalone applications? I want an example. Can you tell me what do you mean by standalone software? You can unmute yourself and you can tell me what do you mean by standalone application? Prasanna, somebody is already working. Many people are working. Please, can you tell me what do you mean by standalone applications? Tell me an examples. Yes. Please, I request everyone, you need not to be hesitate. You can talk to me directly. Please, I think it's a privilege for you. See, standalone application means Windows Media Player. Windows Media Player. Calculator. Calculator. Even we can say certain applications like, scanner, printer, browsers. Like these softwares are standalone. What do you mean by that? These softwares are called, standalone. What does it mean? They will not be interact with the internet. They will be work within the system. Therefore, they will be called as a standalone application. So in order to develop the standalone applications also, we want a graphical user interface to be used. We need a graphical user interface we require. To design the standalone applications, we don't require HTML. Only if you wanted to develop a web applications, only we require a HTML as the language where we can design the front end related part. But to design the calculator, to design the media player, to design the scanner, printer, all this doesn't require any internet-based programming languages. We require, Python has a one specific module called as a tkinter, with which we can able to develop the graphical user interface too. I hope you understand what you mean by standalone application. Clear? Now, so one kind of a software is that standalone application. Second will be client server applications. Client server applications. What does that mean? Let's suppose now you are using most of the applications are, client server applications means there will be a one client, there will be a one server. Let's suppose you are using Google search engine. Google search engine. You will be able to search for a particular document to be retrieved. The request will be go to whenever you are giving us some keyword over here, and if we hit onto the search button, this is Google search engine. You are going to search for a particular document by giving some kind of a keywords over here. The request, whenever you click onto the search button, the request will be go to the another machine is called server. This is the server. This is the client. Cloud. Who is going to become a client? You are going to become a client. A mobile user or laptop user or anybody else from any remote area, they could able to search for a particular document. This is the server. Server will take a request. So this server will be holding some data. But in general scenario, this server is going to have a business applications, like the code which is going to be developed. If you wanted to host your web application, this is going to be a middleware controller. This is going to be a middleware controller in generally. This is going to be a controller. So which is going to be an interface between client and database. There is another server is going to be really available, that database server, which is database server. So let's suppose the all physical documents will be available in this machine using some third-party softwares called MySQL is the database management system. MongoDB is a database management system, and SQL Server is a database management system, Microsoft Server, and DB2 is the management software, and AWS, Azure, ServiceNow, Firefox, Firebase, or GCP, Google Cloud Platform. All these will be act as the backend in order to hold your physical data, whatever the data you wanted to hold. Let's suppose in the same situation, instead of Google search engine, if you use your Instagram or Facebook, isn't it? So you will be, log in firstly. Whether you are a valid user or not is going to be authenticated, because at the time of registration, databases might be holding your credentials. Then server will take a request from the client. It will be check in the database whether it is a valid username and password. It will be authenticate. Then the server, like client, is going to be enter into the next page. So in this area, I would like to tell you, this place is called, what? This is called view. This is called view. View is nothing but the place where the end user is going to be interact with an application is called as a view. This is controller. This is the model. This is model. This particular architecture is called in real-time scenario is that MVC architecture. This is called MVC architecture. Most of the software companies are going to use MVC architecture in order to develop, three-tier architectures. MVC architecture is also known as, three-tier architecture. Three-tier architecture. So any application you take, either Facebook you can take, either Instagram you can take a banking application you can take. Most of the applications are going to be act in the form of a three-tier architecture. So here, being a being a being a software designer, you will be writing either graphical user interface. You are going to develop graphical user interface using tkinter module in Python. Module in Python if it is a standalone application. If it is a web application, we are going to use HTML, XML, isn't it? CSS, JavaScript, or Python script. All these you are going to use, and you will be able to develop a front end. This is also known as a Vue is also known as a front end. Front end means where the end user is going to interact with an application called as a front view. So whereas whatever the server application you are going to write, where you are going to use server programming like Python or Java or other programming language you are going to write in order to write a server programming. And whatever the database programming you require, there actually there are two types of softwares will be categorized. One is relational DBMS, relational database management system. Another category will be NoSQL database. NoSQL databases. This is how we are going to categorize the databases into two categories. Like so now you can ask me any technology, like usually we have a SDLC, which means what? Software development life cycle, where following are the phases are going to be involved: information gathering, designing, and implementation, and testing, and deployment. These are the phases are going to be involved. See, now your role might be decided in a company by someone else. However, here in this phase there will be a business analyst is going to be involved. Business analyst is going to be involved, or there will be a scrum masters, business analysts are going to be involved. And in the designing part, designers are going to be involved. They are also known as an architect. Clear? There would be design like sequential diagram, object-oriented diagrams, class diagrams, collaboration diagrams, flow diagrams, ER diagrams. A lot of these diagrams are going to be designed by third-party tool. Implementation is done by the coders, also known as developers or programmers. They would be utilize Python programming language, Java programming language, any other programming languages. And testing is done by the QA, quality analyst. Quality analyst. And the deployment is done by the DevOps engineers, maintenance people. Clear? So now you guys, whoever is learning this particular course, whatever role you want, you have to decide. I am going to cover three important designations that you can become a full stack Python developer, or you can become a automation testing engineer, or you will become a data scientist. Data scientist is completely different role actually. Whenever you are going to store the huge amount of data, huge amount of data, huge volume of a data, huge velocity of a data, variety of a data will be stored into a database. On top of this particular thing, the data analyst will be perform the analysis mathematically, programmatically, and certain questions are going to be answered in prediction manner, or maybe a current or maybe a future related queries are going to be answered. So in this regard, if you have any questions so far, whatever we have demonstrated, you can ask me so that I'll be go ahead little more. Do you have any questions? Anybody, do you have any questions?